Hello, everyone. For those of you who don't know me, I'm AmityAge. I work at Plan B Network, and I'm the coordinator of the projects of translation. So as you guys know, I hope, we translate all the content in different languages, and then we ask people to check the final version of the courses and make sure that everything makes sense and we can, it can reach the final target in the best way possible. So today we're going to talk a little bit about this, the difficulties you have when you translate content and you proofread content, especially when it comes to Bitcoin. Because like Bitcoin is very, very hard already. So when it comes to translation, you need to pay attention to a few things. So we are lost in translation, guys. If you don't translate well, you can create a few issues. And then let's have a look at a few examples here. Is it lot? All right. All right. So I'm guessing most of you speak English here. Like, does any of you speak Portuguese here? Okay. So as you can see in English, it says, everyone loves a clean bitch. Please do not litter. I mean, I'm sure everyone loves a clean bitch. Yeah, honestly. But like, what does it say in Portuguese? It said praia limpa, which means clean beach, not bitch. So like, you see this, there might be some mistakes here maybe. But you know what? Like, everyone loves a clean beach and everyone loves a clean bitch. So it's legit, honestly. Next example, French. Someone speaks French here, like my friends over there. As you can see, sorry for the bad quality of this, but this is just hilarious. I had to use it. Le non-respect du règlement entraîne l'exclusion. Like, what does it mean? It literally means if you don't respect the rules, you're out. Okay? And what does the English say? Anyone obeying the swimming pool regulations may be required to leave. So there's something wrong here. Like, do I need to respect the rules or not? Like, okay. So I guess French people might say and English people like will be kicked out. I don't know. That's weird. And the last one is hilarious. Hand grenade. Can you imagine like in the case of fire, what would you do? Would you use a hand grenade or would you use a fire extinguisher? Like what's going on? So we do have a problem here. So what does it mean? If you don't translate well, you can create some issues. If it goes well, we can just have a laugh and enjoy it. If it goes bad and you need to translate diplomatic documents, there might be serious issues, okay? Like you can create very bad wars and stuff. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Things you need to pay attention to when you do translation or you do proofreading. So go ahead. Like, this is the summary, but we don't care. Translation is education. Like Marek was talking about education before, but at the end of the day, translation is education, if you think about it. Because what you do when you translate is you make sure that the target you want to address is well educated on the content that you're talking about. So you are, in fact, an educator when you translate because you are giving out a message. And you can change people's lives, especially when it comes to Bitcoin, you know? Like you can have an Indonesian old lady who doesn't know anything about Bitcoin and she wants to, I don't know, leave something to the grandchildren. If she has great content in her language, maybe she can know how to do that. So it's really important to do this. And, you know, Bitcoin is already very hard. So we need to make sure that even if we translate with AI, there's someone who checks the content and makes sure that the message is as clear as possible. All right. So I'm going to give you some few tips and tricks to consider when you translate. Number one, your target. See, this is literally your target. This is the old lady who doesn't know anything about what you're talking about, but she wants to understand. So 100% of the time, your target, sorry, I keep doing this, but I need to okay. Your target is reading about this topic for the first time. Always remember this. I can basically end the presentation here. This is like the most important thing you need to remember. Get a tattoo of it or something. Never take for granted that what you translate is something that other people will understand. Sometimes when I talk to proofreaders that work at Plan B Network, they tend to leave some weird sentences in the proofreading text. And I always say to them, okay, maybe you understand this sentence, but it seems like it's not too clear and maybe other people will not understand it. So feel free to always change the text, make it more clear, change sentences. Maybe you have a long sentence, you want to break it into 2 different sentences. Feel free to do it, as long as the message is clear and arrives to the audience. Number 2, adapt your language. This is another hilarious sign. It says, beware of safety. Like, it means be careful of the safety. Like, it's super weird. And in Chinese, it actually says, be careful. That's it. Okay. So it's kind of saying the opposite of the message. Okay. But what does it mean to adapt your language? It goes back to the target audience once again, because you might translate for an academic audience. So people who speak a very formal language. You might translate something for people in Indonesia or people in, Benin. So the content needs to be adapted a little bit to reach the right audience. And how do you do that? Let me give out some example. So this is Spanish. I'm guessing someone speaks Spanish here? All right. You don't need to focus on the sentence. This is just an example. I just want you to focus on the underlined words te and le. So what is the difference between the first sentence and the second sentence? The first sentence is more informal, more friendly, more direct, while the second sentence is more formal, more towards public that, it could be an academic public, for example, someone who speaks a very formal language. So it is important here to understand who you're talking to, because either you want to be friendly or you want to be more, more constructed. All right. So this is what it means to adapt your language. This is interesting because this happens in languages like Spanish, Italian, where you have like lei to speak to, a formal audience. But in English, for example, there's not the difference. You say you to speak to everybody, okay? In English, you tend to understand the formality of the language from other things, all right? But when you translate from English to other languages, you need to adapt this. Second example. This is actually an example from a course on Plan B Network. Once again, no need to understand the sentence. Here in the parentheses, it says Apple Pay, WeChat Pay, PayPal, whatever. And the Vietnamese guys did a really good proofreading of it. But then what he did was add 2 more words, Momo and VM Pay. So what is going on here? Usually when you translate, what you should not do is add like something different than the original language. So I would normally not accept this. But in this case, I thought it was a very, very nice and smart move. Why? Because can you imagine, like in Vietnam, do you know if people know about Apple Pay and PayPal? Maybe they don't know what they are. So what this guy did is add Momo and VM Pay, which is basically the same thing as these tools, so that the old lady from before in Vietnam will be able to understand what they are talking about. So I will allow this for sure. This is great cultural adaptation. All right. This is a very interesting part here. One does not simply trust Google Translate. Do not trust AI and Google Translate. Always check what is going on, guys, because you can really create hilarious stuff. And what is going on? Like literal against metaphoric. What is the difference? Literal is when you basically translate word for word. So the original word and the final target word will be basically the same. Metaphoric is when you have an image and you need to take the image and transform it into the final target. So I will see a little bit about this. All right. Another French sentence. Once again, no need to understand. The sentence says, he made so that his periodic, so his newspaper, became the high point of the economic theory. So it's literally saying high point, like central point, basically. And what happened in English is that AI, this is what AI did. This is a real example. The AI said he made this periodical a mecca for economic theory. So I have something wrong here, like that. I have something wrong with this sentence, because basically here you have high point, literally high point, but then in the English sentence, the AI put a mecca. Like, you know where Mecca is, you know, the sacred place for Muslim people, they pray to La Mecca, you know. So here we have an image, we have a metaphor. What is a metaphor? It's basically an image that you use to describe something. So he put an image, but here that was not image. It just said central point. And I don't understand why in English he would put a Mecca. So this is weird. Generally, when you have literal words, use literal words in the target. That's it. You don't need to add images. But then we also have the opposite case. This is a metaphor. It's literally the pot calling the kettle black. This is an idiom in English. It basically means when someone is criticizing someone else for a flaw that they themselves have. All right? And like, this is literally the pot and this is the kettle. Like, it's like, I don't care. Like, what the hell? Are you calling me black? You're black as well. Like, what the hell? And so what do you do in these cases? This is how can I say, a very simple case to see, because when you need to transform the metaphor in another language, you need to think of how to do it and adapt it into your language. So in Italian, for example, this sentence here would become bue che dice cornuto all'asino. So you go from the pot and the kettle, literally the two things we saw before, to bue and asino. So the meaning is the same. Italian people will understand the same meaning, but the image is different. Okay? So for English people, the pot and the kettle are important because they drink tea, you know, what they do. And in Italian, instead, you have two animals, which are very important in the Italian culture. So in this case, you have an image, you have a metaphor, but you need to have a metaphor that adapts to the target language, in this case, Italian. So you cannot use pot and kettle. It would be super weird in Italian. No one would understand it. So once again, literal, metaphoric, or possibly metaphoric, okay? Sometimes maybe you don't have the same metaphoric language in the target, so you will go from metaphoric to literal. Okay, I will accept it. But generally, a good translation is when you are very good at translating images as well. Can you imagine people who translate poetry? Like, I don't envy them. I don't want to do that job. That's the hardest thing to do. Oh, and here we have the best parts. Technical terms. Do you see the sentence here? This is an actual translation from AI, guys. I'm not joking. She's driving a Bitcoin complete node. What is a complete node? What is a complete, like, does any of you know what is a complete node? Maybe you know what is a full node, but not a complete node, okay? So basically AI went from French to English and wrote this super weird sentence. And also she's not driving a Bitcoin complete node. Maybe she's running a Bitcoin complete node. So you know what I mean? Like, this translation would not transmit the message as it should. All right. So what you need to do with technical terms is, I would say, keep the term in English and then use what we're going to see in a second. Let me make another super quick example. Like, this is another course on Plan B network. Once again, no need to read the sentence. You have elements, confidential transaction, and issued assets, which this is basically the layer that Blockstream created on Liquid. So basically, like, if you go to their website in Italian, for example, they don't even translate it. You see, they have issued assets, confidential transaction, and then they explain it in Italian. All right. So what do you do with English, with the technical terms, especially in Bitcoin? Do not translate them. Do not translate them. all right? But if you want to make people understand, you can do a few things. So either you live in English and that's it, or you live in English and you add an explanation in the target language if the course doesn't have the explanation. Or another thing you can do, live in English, but you had an hyperlink. You know, when you have like the word in blue in the text, you can click and you can go to another website. That's what you can do. You can put like a resource in another website in the target language. So if they want, they can click and go search for the word. But keep the word in English because, you know, can you imagine someone reading a course on Plan B Network, for example, and learning about full node? If they go to another website and search for full node, then they will have other resources. But if they look for complete node, then maybe they will not find what they need to find, all right? So keep in mind this, especially when it comes to technological terms and Bitcoin terms. Last but not least, research, all right? Don't do like this cat here. It's just like, I'll just make stuff up. Don't do it. Never do it, please. And this has happened. This has happened. I've had proofreaders who have translated technical terms in the final language and it looks super weird and they have not researched, basically. So when you do not understand some term, research, find out more. And I mean, it's a good thing for you because you're going to learn more, especially about Bitcoin and related topics. And it's important because if you don't understand what you're translating or proofreading, how can you make people understand about it? So always research. Maybe it will take you 30 minutes more to do one proofreading. Whatever, do it. It's important. Once again, translation is education. When you translate or proofread, you are educating people. All right. So do not hesitate to take those 10 minutes more to do research and to understand what you're reading so that you can make it better for other people. So the old lady from before will thank you and she will understand how to leave some Bitcoin to her grandchildren. And the family in Iran will know how to, save in Bitcoin and go away from a country that's being bombarded. All right. Last but not least, if you want to apply some of the tips and tricks I've been talking about, feel free to join Plan B Network and especially the contributors group. If you want to do some proofreading for us, it's a win-win because first of all, when you proofread, you learn about Bitcoin. So first win. Second win, when you translate and you contribute to the platform, we will add your username or your actual name to the website. So that people will be able to see the name and you will be able to show your proof of work to Bitcoin companies or your Bitcoin community. And last but not least, you will earn some sats. So why not do it? It's fun. And in the contributors group, you can also add tutorials, add courses if you want and propose your own material. So feel free to join. We're out there. We're going to help you do some contributions. And I can't wait to, see you there and talk to you about Bitcoin related topics and proofreading. Thank you so much.